Hello everyone, this is SAT practice test number 1, section 3. This is the math no calculator. You get 25 minutes and you have 20 questions. To get the best use out of this video, make sure you have actually tried the questions and done them on your own before you watch this, or else it's not going to be very helpful. You'll notice on the math, they always give you some information here. This stuff is stuff that you actually should just memorize. You don't want to have to waste time going back and forth, flipping between your question and this page. And now there are a few obscure diagrams that you're really not going to use very much. That's these ones down here with that cylinder. You got the sphere, you got the right cone, and then you've got the pyramid here. So those aren't going to be used that much. But the rest of the stuff up here, you should pretty much have this all memorized. So I'm going to show you the right way to solve every question and problem. This is not about tips, tricks, strategies, guessing, elimination, or anything like that. Okay, so there's actually a right way to solve every question and problem here, and there are many wrong ways. Let's take a look at question number 1. This is pretty straightforward. You've got some simple algebra here. You're solving for x. So what we have is k is equal to 3. So we're going to simply replace that. So x minus 1 over 3 is equal to 3. We're going to move this 3 down here to the other side by multiplying by 3. So x minus 1 is equal to 9. And you're going to add 1 both sides to get rid of this 1. So you have x equals 10. Fairly straightforward. I think most of you got this one correct. Question number 2. I is equal to the root of negative 1. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have learned this before. If you have not learned this before, then you probably have not gone up to a level of math that's required for the SAT. Anyways, nothing complicated here. You're simply finding the sum of these two things right here. So we're going to add the 7 and the negative 8. That gets you negative 1. And then we got the 3 and the 9i. Those two added up. And that's just going to give you 12i. And that's a very straightforward problem. The right answer is A. Question number 3. You have Armand sending 5 text messages each hour for 5 hours. Tyrone is sending P text messages for 4 hours. What is the total number of messages that they both send? Okay, these are very busy people. We got Armand is going to be M times 5. Tyrone is going to be P times 4. And we're just going to kind of move this around. So it's 5m plus 4p, and that's going to give you C. You'll note here that this is very close, but that is the wrong answer. Number 4. So Kathy's fixing phones here. Here's the equation. P is the number of phones left. D is the number of days. You want to really keep track of what these variables are because that's very, very important. Okay, so the question is asking, what is the meaning of the value of 108 in this equation? Do not read all 4 choices and try to reason it out because all the choices are going to sound pretty good. Okay, so you don't want to sit there and go reading through these and try to see what sounds like it makes sense. Best thing to do, keep track of this, is to just kind of graph it out. So we've got the y-axis, which is P, which is the number of phones. And we've got the x-axis, which is the number of days. And if you graph this out, this is the simple y equals mx plus b. So 108 is going to be the y-intercept. So we have 108. Negative 23d. Negative 23 represents a slope. And so what that means is she's going to start off with 108 phones. So that's going to be B. Question number 5. All you have to do is simplify this. I know this looks scary, but all you're going to do is do your basic combine like terms thing. Now, you want to watch out for this negative here because that is there just to throw you off and give you problems. So we're going to go ahead and distribute that first. So you've got x minus 3y squared plus 5xy squared minus a negative, so plus x squared y. That's a negative right there for that one, so minus 3xy squared. And then for that, that turns out positive, so you're going to have plus 3y squared. Okay, you want to make sure these are lined up correctly. So these two add up, that's going to give you a 2x squared y. And then this is going to add up with that. And those actually just cancel each other out. Okay, so you have 0y squared. And then last, you've got the 5xy squared and the negative 3xy squared. That's going to give you a 2xy squared. And the answer then is going to be C. Question number 6. And you want to figure out what these things mean. Okay, so the best thing to do for a question like this, and this is classic SAT, is you want to kind of look at what the graph is. Okay, so we have H here, age is here, starts off at 28.6. We have a slope of 3. So what does that mean? Slope of 3 means that the slope is going to increase by 3 when the age goes up by 1. Okay, so based on model, what's the estimated increase? It's going to be 3. So the first method is to graph this out. There's another method to look at this. Another method is to put in some numbers. So what we can do is this. We can establish a baseline. I'm going to go ahead and say that the age is equal to, so I'm going to go ahead and put that into the equation. And so we've got 3 times 2 plus 28.6. And that's going to give us a height of 34.6. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and increase age by 1 year. So now we're going to say equals 3. And we're going to go ahead and go 3 times 3 plus 28.6. We're going to go ahead and put that in, and that's going to give you 37.6. So if you compare these two numbers, that is a plus 3 increase. Okay, so that just confirms that the height is in fact increasing by 3 in 1 year. Question number 7. This one looks really nasty because you have a lot of numbers here, but it's actually very simple. The question is asking you which of the following gives P in terms of M, R, and N. Okay, so basically they want you to solve for P. In terms of M, R, and N, it really doesn't matter. So they want you to solve for P. All you have to do is take all this junk that's here and move it to the other side of the equation. And you could do this actually in just one step, but I'm going to split it up into 2. So first we're going to get rid of this nasty numerator here, and I'm going to take this whole thing and divide both sides by that whole thing. Okay, I'm not going to write it down, but it's going to go down here. And then the second step is you're going to take this denominator here, this entire thing, and multiply both sides by that, and it's going to go up there. So what happens is you've got the 1 plus r over 1200 to the nth power minus 1 up here, and you got the r over 1200 times 1 plus r over 1200 to the nth power down here. So the only answer that's going to work is this one, B. Question number 8. If a over b equals 2, what is value of 4b over a? Okay, we don't need to solve for a or b. That's a huge waste of time. The way you should look at this is you've got 4 times b over a. And basically that is the inverse of what you have. So if a over b is equal to 2, basically that tells you that b over a equals 1/2. And basically all you're going to do here is just go 4 times 1/2, which is going to give you 2. So the answer is C. Question number 9. We have a system of equations. The worst thing you can possibly do is to go through all 4 choices and plug all these numbers into both equations to see which ones work out. That is definitely not the thing to do. Okay, just don't do that. When it comes to system equations, there are two ways you can solve these. One is substitution, and the other is add, subtract, and then eliminate. I'm going to tell you that add, subtract, and eliminate is always going to be the preferred method. Okay, that's going to make things a lot easier. What you don't want to do is say 2y minus x equals negative 19 and sit there and solve for x and then take that value and plug it into the first equation. It's going to get messy. So we're going to look for two variables that have coefficients that we can eliminate. You got a 3x here, negative 1x there. Nope, they don't match up. 4y there, 2y there. That doesn't match up. But 4 is a multiple of 2. So we're going to take the second equation here, and we're going to multiply both sides by 2. So we multiply that by 2, multiply that by 2. So that's going to turn into 4y minus 2x equals negative 38. And then you've got the 3x plus the 4y equals negative 23. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just subtract one of these things. Now, we want to end up a positive if possible. So we're going to go ahead and subtract these things. So I'm just going to make one of these negative. So I'm going to go ahead and just change the sign on that, make that negative, make that positive, make that positive. Now we can add these up. The 4y's cancel out. Get 5x is equal to 15. So x is equal to 3. At this point, you actually just have only one choice, b. But let's make sure this is correct. So we're going to go ahead and put the 3 into any equation. I'm going to make it easy. We'll do the second equation. So we got 2y minus 3 equals negative 19. And we're going to add 3 to both sides. We got 2y is equal to negative 16. And we've got y equal negative 8. So yeah, that works out. We're looking at b. Question number 10. So a is a constant, and that means a represents a number that doesn't change. G of 4 is equal to 8. What is the value of g of negative 4? All right, a lot of people get confused about this. They're not sure what it means by g of 4 is equal to 8. Let me tell you. What that means is every function has an x and a y value. So that means that 4 is the x value and 8 is the y value. What that tells you is when you put 4 into this function up here, when you put 4 in there, you get a value of 8 as the y value. Okay, so this is what we're going to do with this. That means that 8 is equal to a times 4 squared plus 24. And we're going to go ahead and figure out what the a value is. So that's going to be 8 equals a times 16 plus 24. Subtract 24 from both sides. So we're going to get negative 16 equals a times 16. So a is equal to negative 1. Now we know that a is negative 1. That is actually going to go right there. So the equation, in fact, is going to be y equals negative 1 x squared plus 24. And they want to know what is the value of g of negative 4. That means we're going to take negative 4 and plug that into the equation now. Negative 1 times negative 4 squared plus 24. And that's going to give you negative 16 plus 24, which is going to give you 8. So the answer is A. Question number 11. So B and C represent the prices of beef and chicken X weeks after July 1. What is the price per pound? So what is the price per pound of beef when it's equal to the price per pound of chicken? So what we have to do here is set the two prices equal to each other. Okay, so B is equal to C. So we got to figure out when that actually was. So we're going to go 2.35 plus 0.25x is equal to 1.75 plus 0.4x. So looking at this, you have a choice. You can either move the 0.25 to the right side, or the 0.40 to the left side. In general, you don't want to create negatives, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 0.25 and I'm going to move it to that side, and I'm going to take the 1.75, I'm going to move it to that side. So we've got 2.35 minus 1.75 is equal to 0.40x minus 0.25x. All right, so you're not allowed to use a calculator on this, but this is not too bad. 235 minus 175, that's going to be 60. And 0.40 minus 0.25, that's going to give you 0.15x. So 0.60 divided by 0.15, that's actually going to give you 4. So x is equal to 4. 4 weeks later. Now, we're not done. We actually have to figure out what the price is per pound of beef. So we're looking at the price of beef after 4 weeks. We have to take that 4, plug that back in there. So now we've got 2.35 plus 0.25 times 4. That part's going to give you $1. So it's 2.35 plus $1. That's going to give you 3.35. And your answer is D. Question number 12. A line in the XY plane passes the origin, has a slope of 1/7. Okay, remember, slope is defined as rise over run. So what we're looking at here is it goes to the origin and has a slope of 1/7. So rise over run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, it's going to look like this. So it's barely sloping. Which of the following points lies on the line? A lot of people look at these numbers without thinking and they go, well, 1/7, and they think, okay, 1,7. No, that is not the right answer. Also 0,7. No, let's think about this. 0,7 is like somewhere up here. 1,7 is somewhere up there. 7,7, no, that's also not going to work. That's me. If you got 7 here, it's me somewhere over there. 14,2, that is the right answer, because that has a ratio of 1:7. That is the right answer, 14,2. Question number 13. So in this case, x is greater than 3, and which of the following is equivalent? All right, this is just a matter of fractions, and what you want to do is just reduce everything down. So what we're going to do is start with this bottom part here. We want to add them together. Again, in order to add fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So we're looking at 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 3. What you have to do is multiply this one by x plus 2 over x plus 2. And this other side is going to be x plus 3 over x plus 3. So you're going to end up with x plus 3 plus x plus 2 all over x plus 3 times x plus 2. We're going to take this bottom part and FOIL it out. So that's going to give us x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 6. And on the top, you're going to add these up. You got the x and the x's, so you can get 2x plus 5. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit better. Simplify this bottom part right here. And that's going to be 2x plus 5 over x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now, are we done? Is the answer A? No, it is not. Because this entire thing is underneath a 1. That means you're going to flip the entire thing over and you can get x squared plus 5x plus 6 all over 2x plus 5. So your right answer is actually going to be B. Now I'm going to show you guys another way to do this. Anytime you see a question that has variables in the question stem itself and variables in the answer choices, you can always solve these by picking numbers. What does that mean? That means pick a number for x we're going to plug that in and see what works out. Now, it does say that x is greater than 3, but in this case, doesn't have to be. We're just going to say x is equal to 1 or 0. You want to be careful with 0. Just make sure there's no division by 0. So we're going to say x is equal to 1. Let's see what this turns into. So first thing is, we're going to pick numbers, put it in to see what the value comes out to be. So that's going to give us 1 over 1 plus 2 plus 1 over 1 plus 3. And that's going to give us 1 over 1/3 plus 1/4. We're going to go ahead and add these two together. So I'm going to multiply this by 4 over 4. This multiplies by 3 over 3. That's a multiplication there. And then we're going to end up with 1 over 4/12 plus 3/12. That's going to give us 1 over 7/12. 12 over 7. Okay, so that is the answer. This 12 over 7, that is the answer, assuming that x is equal to 1. What you need to do now is check every answer choice to see what is going to give you 12 over 7 if you plug in x of 1. So, for example, choice A. Okay, if we're going to take choice A and plug in 1, you can get 2 plus 5 all over 1 squared, which is 1, plus 5 plus 6, which is equal to 7 over 12. No, that is not the right answer choice. All right, we already know that choice B is the right choice, but we're going to go ahead and do this. So that's going to give us 1 plus 5 plus 6 all over 2 plus 5. That's going to give us 12 over 7. And yes, that matches up. Number 14. 3x minus y equals 12. What is the value of 8 to the x over 2 to the y? First thing I'm going to tell you is this. If you ever see an answer choice that says it cannot be determined, it is most likely wrong. The answer does not mean that you personally cannot figure out what the answer is. It means that the information provided is not enough for you to figure out what the answer is. For now, we're going to ignore the part where it says 3x minus y equals 12. We're going to deal with this. Okay, so we have 8 to the x over 2 to the y. A lot of people wonder, okay, what am I going to do about this? This all goes down to the laws of exponents. So, first thing you want to do, we're going to take this and we want to have the same base. So 8 is in fact 2 to the third. So we're going to rewrite 8 to the x as 2 to the third raised to the x power over 2 to the y. And then we're going to apply laws of exponents. So that's the top part is going to be 2 to the 3x. Bottom part still stays at 2 to the y. Then we're going to go ahead and turn that into 2 to 3x minus y. If you guys remember that from the laws of exponents. And now this is where the 3x minus y comes into play. We know that that is equal to 12. So that's going to get you 2 to the 12. And that is actually the right way to be solving this. Right answer is A. Question number 15. What are the two possible values for C? This is your typical quadratic, and what it means is if you take this ax plus 2 times bx plus 7 and you FOIL that, you're going to end up with 15x squared plus cx plus 14. All right, so we're going to go ahead and first start with that, and I'm going to go ahead and FOIL that together. So what do you get? You get abx squared plus 2bx plus 7ax and then plus 14. Okay, so I went ahead and FOILed that. Now, they tell you that that is equal to 15x squared plus cx plus 14. So everything matches up. The 14s match up. We know that abx squared is 15x squared. And we know that the 2bx plus 7ax, that's going to add up to be the cx. Now, the next piece of the puzzle is that a plus b is equal to 8. Here this tells us that AB is equal to 15. And we got A plus B is equal to 8. So what are the possible values? Well, we know that A can equal 5 and B can equal 3, or A can equal 3 and B can equal 5. Okay, so we're not absolutely sure, and that's why there are two possible values for C. So we're going to go ahead and plug those in right there and figure out what C is equal to. So we're going to start with, again, we got 2bx plus 7ax equals cx. So we got 2 times 5 plus 7 times 3, or it's 2 times 3 plus 7 times 5. We'll go with the first one. That's going to give you 31. And next one is 41. So your answers are D, 31 and 41. Question number 16. T is greater than 0. T squared minus 4 equals 0. What is the value of t? Okay, so that means that t squared is equal to 4. And we know t is greater than 0. So we're going to take the root of both sides. Simple enough. So t equals plus or minus 2. And we know that t is greater than 0. So the answer is t equals 2. Now, I do want to point out, on the free response section, the grid-ins, you'll never have a negative answer. So if you ever get a negative answer, you know it's wrong, guaranteed. So if you're working on this and you got -2 and you weren't quite sure, you know that -2 is guaranteed to be wrong. Question 17. This is a matter of similar triangles. This is a thing they really like to test. So what do we have here? We want to find a length x. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. Now, the lengths represented by AB, EB, BD, and CD were determined to be. Now, you got to make sure you line these up. So AB is 1800. That's 1800 here. 1400 is E to B. BD is 700. And we've got CD, which is going to be 800. You have to make sure you're looking at the corresponding sides of the similar triangles. Okay? If you're not looking at corresponding sides, it's not going to help. So the X corresponds with the 800. The 700 corresponds with the 1400. And the 1800 corresponds with BC. Now you'll notice there's no value here for BC. 1800 is actually kind of useless. We don't care about the 1800. All we care about is the 1400, the 700, the 800, and the x feet. So how are we going to set this up? We know x is to 800 as, now make sure you line it up right, 1400 is to 700. You don't want to flip these around. A lot of people make the mistake of going, say, x is to 800 as 700 is the 1400, and that is wrong. Okay, you don't want to flip these two numbers around. You got to make sure they line up. All right, we're gonna go ahead and solve this thing, but basically I'm gonna tell you what you're not going to do is you're not going to cross multiply. No, because you just want to solve for x. Okay, if you cross multiply, what happens is you have the 700 moved over to this side, and then you have to divide it back out. So do not cross multiply. You're only going to take the 800 and move it to the other side. So we have x is equal to 1400 over 700 times 800. And again, these cross out, and that turns into a 2. So 2 times 800 equals 1600. And your answer is going to be 1600. So that's the answer to number 17. 1600. Question 18. Another system of equations. They really like these things. What is the value of x? Okay, so this one is not multiple choice, so you can't even plug in answer choices even if you wanted to. Let's take a look at this. Again, the easiest thing to do is to add, subtract, and then eliminate. You are not going to do substitution. That always takes longer. Okay, so trying to avoid substitution, let's look at these. So looking at these coefficients, you got both have 1s for the x's. You got a 1y and a 2y here. This is perfect. The x's are going to disappear. Let me rewrite this. X plus 2y equals -25. And then I'm going to make the second equation a negative. So we got negative x minus y equals 9. Add these together. That cancels out. You got a y there. That's going to equal negative 16. So y is equal to negative 16. We can go ahead and plug that back into any equation. So we got x minus 16 equals negative 9. X equals 7. There you go. Done. Question 19. In a right triangle, one angle measures x degrees where sine of x equals 4/5. All right, let's draw a little diagram here. This is x. Sine, again, is what? Opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse, we got 4/5. Now, that doesn't mean that the lengths of the sides of the triangle are exactly 4 and 5, but relatively speaking, it's going to have a ratio of 4/5. This last side here, you should recognize this as being 3. Okay, this is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. If you didn't know that, yes, you could use Pythagorean theorem to figure it out, but we're not going to waste time doing that. You should just know that this is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, which is one of their favorite triangles on the SAT. Okay, they're asking, what is the cosine of 90 minus x? So what does that even mean? Well, here's the thing. A triangle has how many degrees? There are 180 degrees in a triangle. So that's the 90 right here, bottom right corner. Bottom left hand corner is the x. So what's left? The x plus this add to be 90. So this is the angle that they're talking about when they say 90 minus x. Okay, that's the 90 minus x, and they want to know what the cosine is. Now, cosine, again, is adjacent over hypotenuse. Relative to the position of that angle, adjacent is going to be what? Compared for this angle up here, the adjacent is the 4, and hypotenuse is 5 again, so it's still 4/5, and that is the answer. Question 20. A equals 5√2 and 2a equals √2x. So we're going to go ahead and use this equation here. 2 times 5√2 is equal to √2x. That's going to give us 10√2 equals √2x. We're going to go ahead and square both sides. So you have 100 times 2 equals 2x, and divide both sides by 2, x equals 100. And there you have it, guys. All 20 questions for section number 3. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if this is helpful for you, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe so I know this is helping you guys out and I can make more videos. Have a great day. Be sure to check out section 4. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, if you feel that this video was useful, please like and subscribe, and also share this video with your friends who are studying so hard for the SAT.